Hi, I'm Tammy.
And I'm Greg, and you're watching Chock Full of Quarters. Join us each week to watch us collect quarters from our laundromat.
And see how much money we make. We also give tips on buying, owning, and running a laundromat. And to answer that question that everybody wants to know.
Does a laundromat make money?
Make sure you watch for the code word in the video and enter it into the comment section for your chance to win this coffee can full of quarters. You must be a subscriber.
So hit that subscribe button, press the like button. It really helps the channel. And don't forget the notification bell so you can be notified of future videos.
Let's get collecting. Hi, I'm Tammy.
I'm Greg, and we are Chock Full of Quarters.
So we told you we were going to start changing up the format a little bit, and so this is going to be the first video of us changing the format. And we are going to show you 7 things that we are embarrassed by. It's taken us, what, almost a year to kind of show you, but someone had kind of called me out in the comments last week that we only kind of gloss everything over. So this is for you, Scott. It really is. It really is the 7 things that we feel are embarrassed by. We try to hide them because they're that embarrassing. We don't want you to know that
We're not perfect.
we're not perfect.
So here's how to run a laundromat, and we do try to tell you the things we have learned that we know how to do correctly. But there's a lot of stuff that all that knowledge didn't come overnight. It came from doing it wrong for years.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have
The knowledge.
or the other channels or the other owners
Yeah.
or things like that to say, hey, how are you supposed to do this? What, when something would happen,
That's
you
right.
know,
We had to figure it out on our own. And a lot of times it was
trial and error.
And you'll see why a lot of stuff is the way it is. And it's all because, not all of it, but a majority of it starts with the fact that we didn't have working capital. But you'll see here. No, he's right. We had to figure this out on our own. And this is what we're hoping for with our channel. We really are hoping that if one person who buys a laundromat and saw something that we've done wrong, and we're showing you we did it wrong, and that you need to try and do it right to save you the headache and the money we have spent on
If you
things.
can learn from our mistakes, I think we've used that saying before.
Yeah.
Learn from the mistakes of others. You're not going to live long enough to make them all yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That is the truth. If we had channels with Keenan and There I Fixed It and all the other ones, we would have picked up little tidbits from all of them, and that would have saved us money.
If I had been, if Ken Barrett had been around when I needed him, half of our stuff would have been fixed, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
And then if anybody who doesn't know who Ken Barrett is, you need to check him out. He has a channel on YouTube. He's really on the Facebook forums. Super helpful. I mean, everything he's done, I've watched all of his videos, even on videos that we don't have those machines, because he always has some really good information. He's got 5 laundromats, I believe. Just very knowledgeable. So stay tuned, and here's our 7 most embarrassing things in our laundromat. Go.
Number 1, we never really had working capital, and we're still even now fighting to save up so we can have a decent amount of working capital. Number 2, our dryers do not have a dedicated dryer room. It's all, when we first got here, was completely open to the back, which if we have vents in the great ceiling, it's completely open to everything, instead of having a dedicated dryer room. We're going to show you what we have and what we've done back there.
So we are coming up to where the washers end and the dryers start.
So y'all have been back here before. We've shown you this when we had Stanley Steamer out here. I don't know if you actually understood when you came back here what you were looking at, but when you have a dryer room, you have to have makeup air. That means fresh air from outside. Well, and when it's this time of year, cold, you can't have that cold air getting onto the pipes of your washing machines because, as you know, your pipes will burst.
These are insulated with foam.
Yeah, we foamed these up
yeah.
specifically for this purpose. So what we had to do is literally take this plastic drop cloth sheeting
And build a wall.
build a wall, because this is our first dryer, and it's 6 inches from a washer.
You need to start going down a little
And
bit.
you can come in and see.
So we're
dryer
gonna. So
room.
now we had to kind of we had to build, and I don't know what we're gonna be able to see, but as you can see, this is a plastic wall of sheeting, and then what we did is at the top, we used some of that silver bubble wrap to block off a room.
Not airtight.
We're gonna have to come down, and we did it all along the
We did it all
top.
the way down.
From the top, let's go down with this more lighting. There's no. We bought some of those weird
Yeah, we bought some really
LEDs.
awesome LED lights, so it's nice and bright back here.
Yeah. We'll be able to show you a little bit more. Actually, we should be able to do it right about here, maybe.
See a better view.
Oh, actually, move down a little more. Okay, here we go. So now we should be able to show you. So you can see that the wall only goes up to basically, that goes up beyond this, to the drop ceiling. And what we had to do, let me see if I can make it get over here. And you can see that we had to go all the way to the ceiling, but our beams are in the way too. So we had to find a way. Actually, Greg did a really good job, and for somebody who's afraid of heights, he really did a good job of getting that.
Now, a few of them have come loose, and I got to get back up
Yeah.
there and retie them up.
Let's go down a little bit.
But if you also, I don't know if I showed you this last time you were in here, our makeup air.
This is where our makeup air
These
comes
vents
in.
down here. That's where our makeup air comes in, which, as we've found out,
We don't have
that's
enough.
not enough, really.
It's really
but
not.
What we got.
We're gonna have to, when we get to put the new dryers in, we're gonna have to make more makeup air. Here's a good show. Let me see if I can do a little zoom. See, there was a pole coming through there. Oh no, it was an electrical
That's an
conduit.
electrical conduit.
So that's what we had to do. We had to create our own makeup air. I mean, our own wall. And why? Why did we do that? Well, because the place was freezing. We couldn't keep it heated. We're afraid we're gonna burst some pipes. And
We had that polar vortex come through.
oh, we had that polar. Yes.
That was the
that
year
was
that
horrible.
and we were like really scared, so I put the
Yeah.
plastic sheeting up initially.
Yep.
And then we were like, okay, we really need to insulate this room in to keep this makeup air and to stop the lint from getting back here to the front.
And we also had,
been a problem, too.
you know, Greg Sargent, you know, he does drywall. And he said it was going to cost us to redo all of this. It was, you know, he was giving us the
friend discount.
friend discount. And
It was still expensive.
it was almost like 10 grand.
Yeah.
So one of the other things is you know, and it embarrasses us that it's like this. And this is why we haven't brought you back here. And, you know, somebody accused us of just showing the only good. Well, Scott, this is for you.
Yeah.
Things
aren't perfect.
Things aren't perfect. Look at this. Lint. We have lint everywhere. Look at how bad this is. Thank God our new dryers are coming in a month.
And one of the causes,
I mean,
if you can look down here real quick,
ooh, you
there's
need
another thing we're embarrassed by. No, this has been fixed.
no.
It has. This was off. I mean, there's a gap here, I admit that, but I mean, this was like a couple of inches off, so this was blowing.
No, you need to fix this tonight.
I understand that.
Oh, okay. Okay, you knew that it was like that.
Yeah, this was off.
Oh.
This is fixed compared to what it was. Yeah, this is a little half-inch gap. That's nothing. This was off like 4 or 5 inches off.
Oh,
This works now. This is great. Comparatively speaking, you know. And the other one, there's no light back here.
I know.
Let's see if I can.
we have this. This is the dryers used to end here, and then they wanted to put 1 through 4 in, and this
There was a
wall,
here.
yeah, which it's just a cutout, and this is gonna come out when we put the new dryers in, and the 1 through 4, and I'll be honest with you, they barely get any makeup air.
And the pipes, you know, like I was just showing you on that big one back there, I had the same problem back here.
There is barely
On this
any light,
one,
honey.
I had this pipe literally was leaning over
Yeah.
and almost hitting this pipe, touching this one. So with all the air from this machine, instead of blowing outside, out the back, which we want, was blowing out in this room for a while. I don't know how long that was doing that, so I had to shove it back up in there, and I got it in there, and it's where we want it, and we're getting the new machines, so.
So, our dryers are an embarrassment to us. Our dryer room is an embarrassment to us because this is what it shouldn't look like.
We've seen sparkling clean dryer rooms in other laundromats.
Yes.
Now, I'm not talking about not having a cinder block wall or anything like that. I understand that.
We're talking beautiful, clean dryer rooms.
Yeah.
And ours is not. And it's... Hold on one second. I want to see if I can find that.
So there was a switch.
Yeah, I know. I don't know where it is.
This thing's on, so be careful.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this is our embarrassment. Number 3, DIY bulkheads. The bulkheads were bad when we got here, and we had to come up with something else, and it was just one of those DIY projects that we kind of did off the cuff, and to me, they're an embarrassment. Okay. So one of the things is that we were very careful of when we recorded, that I never got shots like this. Can you see our DIY bulkhead? I mean, it's because I was embarrassed. Because Greg and I built this in less than 8 hours with sheets of plywood, just, 4x8 sheets, and then we built a wooden frame, and because we could just screw this stuff together. And what it was, is what we needed is we needed to build this bulkhead right here so that we could have access behind these machines. And I can tell you, they're filthy. I painted them thinking, oh, I'll use a gloss paint. And it won't ever, I'll be able to wipe it down. And it looks like a DIY project. It does not look anything professional. These sags, because we didn't put any supports through the centers. And so it is an embarrassment for me. And I know when we retool our washers, it'll all get ripped out. But I've had to live with this for 12 years. And, I feel like sometimes that we're a second-rate laundromat.
And when we did this, I have to say, we didn't feel, we were actually pretty proud of ourselves when we finished this. We were like, oh, that looks okay. But looking at it now, when we've gone into other laundromats, the fact that we used plywood to begin with is, you can't wipe it down.
So here, go ahead and pull that out. So here's what we have been hiding. It's things like that comes off of there. This is just kind of screwed on. And, we have, this stuff. So here's one of the other ones.
Number 4, the roller coaster drip from hell.
So this was the roller coaster, which it fell apart. So Greg's gonna have to go. So this pipe here, this water pipe, and as you can see, it's got some drip marks. It's got a lot of drip marks because this pipe runs up through the ceiling all the way down to the water access, which is in the maintenance room. So
this is hot water.
This is hot water. And this pipe expands and contracts on a daily basis. Before we bought this laundromat, this pipe up in the ceiling with all my hot water pipes was not insulated. They had open air vents in the ceilings. They never, this place was horrible. It was just like one big wind tunnel. And, in January, we get freezing temperatures, below freezing temperatures, actually. We're surprised that the pipes never burst. But we insulated the pipes. But this drips a lot because it expands and contracts. So what happened was, I need to turn, let me see if I can turn the light on. I might have. Maybe, no, I think we're going to need your flight. So as this pipe, as you can see, the corrosion, we tried using some pipe tape. So then we had the drip. We had a drip that came right about here, from here. And so Greg used
what happened was, if you know anything from my understanding, and I'm not an expert at this, This pipe, the big hot water pipe, is copper, and it's touching this steel,
It's resting on it.
resting on the steel bulkhead frame. So from my understanding, when you touch steel and copper together, it starts to corrode. There's a chemical reaction that takes place can happen over years, and it starts to corrode it. And from my understanding, if you have a weak spot, which is where it was welded right here, which is where we had to put the tape, and the leak was much worse. We put the tape on, it helped a little, but not 100%. So I had to go out, and it's not like it leaked at a point where I could put a valve on it or anything like that. I had to go out and get this.
Here's his little slip and slide for the drip.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to go down to one of these pipes, and there's a backup drain over there. Well, that's fallen off, so we have to, because you can see it's still a little wet in here. Maybe the drip has kind of stopped. But again, DIY junk.
Yeah.
That's what that is. DIY junk. That's how I look at it. Hold on a second. I can't see. So that is DIY junk. It's the stuff that I absolutely hate. So why haven't we had a plumber come in? Well, we did. He wanted $80 just to come to us, whether he did anything or not. And then when he got here, he wanted to rip out everything. He wanted to rip out from one end to the other. And we told him that's not what we need. We needed him to fix and repair this section. And he says, well, he doesn't do that because it wasn't, what was it, not enough money? Is that how you kind of took it?
Yeah, it was a smaller job. He wanted to do the whole big job.
Yeah.
We didn't want a $1,000 job. We needed basically a $200 job.
Yeah. So, and you know, there aren't a lot of plumbers around here. Commercial plumbers, I'm sorry, and that's the difference. You are not going to be able to get your local plumber that comes out and does stuff at your house to come to your laundromat. You need a commercial plumber.
And we have been told, I called one, and when I gave him the address, I said, oh, here's the name of my business. They go, oh, you're a business? I'm sorry, we only deal with residential.
Yeah. So
I'm like, they're pipes and water. Yeah. What's the difference?
So you have to make sure that you get the right people to work on your stuff. These pipes hold a lot of pressure. Pressure that, you know, feeds your whole building. And, you know, it's not just a little, you know, this isn't just little, you know, half-inch, quarter-inch copper piping. So that's why we have a lot of DIY projects. And remember, a lot of this stuff also stems back to not having working capital. This is what happens when you don't have working capital. A lot of these things, not a lot, well, these two plumbing incidents are not from, these are pretty recent. What we're about to show you next, that was a big project, and there was money that we just didn't have. Number 5, our soap machine. It needs to be professionally welded. I'll show you what we've been doing to it for the last couple of years. It came out of one of the worst laundromats ever. I'll tell you about that laundromat, and I'll tell you what we've been doing just to keep it together. So this is our soap machine. We bought this in the city of Baltimore, somewhere in Baltimore. Or was it Philadelphia?
No,
it's Baltimore. In Baltimore, at this laundromat that was on Craigslist. And we actually were going up there for a washing machine that he was selling for a couple $100. And he took pictures. But he didn't take pictures of his machine. He took pictures of somebody else's machines. They weren't his.
Yeah.
And when we got there, it didn't have any panels on the front. And apparently there was a drip from the drain. So their way of fixing it was to take spray foam and completely encapsulate the drain, the outer drain, to keep the drip contained. And I was just devastated that we drove all the way up to Baltimore. But in the back room, they had sitting our soap machine. We didn't know it. You know, we tested it. It worked. But when we got it back, this part right here, this arm.
You can see the equivalent over here.
So this is what it looks on this side.
It's welded on there properly.
Okay.
This one had, I guess, over the years of abuse, this entire panel here, or piece here, had come off.
Right.
So if you can look, you can see that gray stuff around there. That, I believe, is JB Weld.
And it comes off every 6 months. Every 6 months we have to grind it back down and do it again. Mm-hmm. It needs to be welded. But again, to get a welder here, it just costs You know, what did he, I think he wanted $100 just to come here. I don't understand why these people don't want work. I really don't get it. So we have to fix this, and this breaks at least once a week. It pops out of this slot right here because it has the wrong screws. We can't get them because this machine's discontinued. The company has not been all that helpful at all. So it's, again, we've had to DIY, fix this, bend this, grind this.
Brute force or grind it down or
Oh my
cut
gosh,
it. Or...
we've just had more problems with it. So, so this machine's an embarrassment to us. It really is. We're hoping to get a new one. We really are, because it's just, you know, I think sometimes it's really hard. Oh, we gotta fill the soap machine. We gotta fill the soap machine.
Yep.
So, this is an embarrassment to us. And to prove that we actually went to Baltimore to get it, there are their stickers. They're tax stickers.
Number 6, trying to make water run uphill. And here's what we have to do when it doesn't.
Okay, as you can see, as we're showing you, that that our pumps actually do run uphill. The water has to be forced on, even onto that second one, and on the other two also. And what you see here is, so that is a turkey pan with a pond pump in it, because that second machine, there is a either a crack in the drain or that connector has come loose. But here's the problem, and this is why we're embarrassed, because we never saw this when we bought the place. We never thought to consider. So if we wanted to go fix that second machine right there, I gotta find somebody who can fit in there. Greg, do you fit in there? Does your thigh fit in there?
My head fits in there.
Your head fits in there,
But
oh.
the rest of me has a little trouble fitting in there.
So this is probably, if we're lucky, 12 inches. There is no access. This right here, this bar right here, this is the bulkhead frame, and there is no access to get behind any of these machines. Look what happens if we want to get behind this machine. If we ever had to change out a motor,
A belt.
well belts would go down from the top, but there is literally 2 inches. Here we're lucky. There's maybe 12 inches if we're lucky, but you know, we haven't been able to find somebody who can crawl back in there and fix that for us. So what's going to happen is, if I can't actually find somebody who can actually crawl in there and disconnect this and fix this for us, we're going to have to uninstall this machine to get in there, to get back in there. So we didn't know about these pipes running uphill until last year. We went 11 years without ever knowing. These bulkheads are a DIY project from the previous owner. They're not the professional ones that you can get from some of the other companies. To me, it's embarrassing, because you can't really clean them, no matter how many times we wash these down, or they're filthy. They're always filthy. I just can't seem to clean them. So we are embarrassed that we bought a laundromat and never thought to look for pipe access, or electric access, or the fact that, to see if we could fit behind them. And the other ones are worse. So this is not only an embarrassment to us, but it's probably Greg's biggest.
It's my biggest pet peeve. That when I have to work on something back here, and I have to reach down to hook up, just simply hooking up a hose to a machine. I curse the old owner, and I'm like, what the heck were you thinking?
Greg wanted to sue him last week.
I wanted to just go to his house and punch him in the face.
Yep, I know. It was horrible.
Because, I mean, and we had Roto-Rooter here a few weeks ago because we got a problem.
We don't have drain access.
We don't have drain access. The guy was like, yeah, I can snake out this part of the drain because through this first pipe, we do have, sort of have access because of the way it's hooked up, which is also kind of not proper. But to get actual,
So there's two drains. There's a drain to these washers here, these 35 pounders. And then to these 25 pounders, there's a metal drain that's even hard to see. Let's see, move back. Right there. So there's two drains. One dumps into the drain, one dumps into the backup drain. And it's crazy.
it is,
isn't it, honey?
the fact that we don't have access to the drain so it can be snaked if it needed to be, or whatever, is the rotor guy was like, Pat, who the hell set this up for you? And I was like, it wasn't me, that's for damn sure. The other ones.
Can you talk? Well, can you look
Sorry.
over here?
When the rotor guy was here, he was like, who the hell set this up? We give you no access to these drains.
No.
The other drains, at least you don't have two hard mounted machines back to back.
Yeah.
So you do have somewhat access to the drain. But
Sorry, spider wanted to interrupt.
so you have it's still not convenient, but at least you have it. They can get in there.
Yeah.
This one, not possible.
Yeah.
When we replace these machines, I'm going to have them completely rip this out.
Yep.
And I either want from this side or the other side or something, some sort of access to that middle drain.
Yep.
So when there's a problem and I have to call Roto-Rooter or I have to snake it myself or whatever I have to do, I can do it.
Yep.
Because
Exactly.
this is the worst.
Yep. And these are things you have to know. If you don't know how to look, if you don't know what you're looking at, our biggest mistake, not getting somebody in here to look at what it was we had. That was our first mistake before we bought it. You have to find somebody that you can trust who can be like, yeah, this isn't gonna work, or hey, that looks pretty good. Because if you're not building, you don't have control over this.
Yeah.
So in this kind of stuff, this is
yeah.
gonna, yes, and because it's a zombie mag.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. It could be a zombie mat because of the way it was run, not because of the way it was designed. This was a functioning laundromat that was profitable. So we were like, oh, okay, cool, we'll take it.
Yeah.
We had these rose-colored glasses on, and we didn't have the knowledge about the business or enough about plumbing and electrical and other basic stuff to be able to look at this and say, wait a second, how is this supposed to work?
That's right.
You
So,
know?
Number 7. Seventh thing we're embarrassed about at the laundromat. So let's take a walk out here. We have a car he broke down the other day. We're waiting for him to get it towed. This is our parking lot. Look at this. We have these holes that it's hard for us to, Greg will come out with bags of asphalt and fill them in when he can, but they want over $20,000. We have a pothole there. We have a huge crater right about there that we need to get filled. I mean, there's one right there, there's another one right there, and it's just, our parking lot is a mess. It really is. Even up here you can see it was done in sections, and it's terrible. I hate it. I'm so embarrassed by it. I really am. So number 7, our parking lot. So you've seen them all. That's us. Mm-hmm. We have ripped off the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
We have showed you what we feel is what makes us lacking in being good laundromat owners.
You've seen behind the curtain.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think your worst?
For me, just because of the way I was brought up and I think the most embarrassing thing that I should have known better was the working capital. And that, one thing we didn't say is that we used our credit cards as working capital when we first opened. We would just put everything on there.
And then they got taken
and
away.
Then they got, just,
No, they took them away from us.
Yeah, you go that much in debt, and
I'm sorry.
it hurts your credit report. It hurts, you know, you can't get loans after that.
And we've talked about this.
It's been terrible. That was to me the most embarrassing
Yeah.
thing is we should have known better. What about you? What was your most embarrassing?
Oh, the most embarrassing for me is the parking lot. Absolutely, the parking lot.
Yeah.
Because, you know, no matter, you know, it's because our lot is so big and it's going to cost a lot of money to do this. And it's part of our lease that he doesn't have to fix it, that we have to fix it. And no matter how many Band-Aids we put on it, Greg going out there with the bags of asphalt, filling in the holes, you know, one truck or one school bus comes driving through our lot, or in the winter plow.
I've seen when after we did at one time have it, a couple of the puddles professionally fixed. I watched our plow guy. It's not his fault.
No,
He's just out there plowing, doing what I pay him to. He ran over one of the puddles, and that thing, the stuff they poured in, exploded.
Yeah,
and went everywhere in there. The pothole was back in a millisecond. You know, that's how fast it can be.
Yeah.
And
so it's just, you know, and until what we're hoping is once we get open 24 hours, and so, you know, we talk about this like, oh, once we get open 24 hours and we're doing so much money, we'll have all this money to really fix these things. But it's not really about just kind of waiting for these things to fix. This is an ongoing issue. And I know a lot of laundromat owners who have buildings like ours where it's just constant stuff happening. If you're in a strip mall, they're gonna plow, they're gonna shovel, you know, they're gonna take care of
They're gonna take it as a parking lot, and if you're in that situation, so you're fortunate for that.
You're fortunate, you know.
We're not, we have to deal with that ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's just something to be considered, but your rent might be a little higher.
Yeah.
That's the price you pay.
Price you pay. So that's my worst, and that's your worst. So let's do some things. I want to get back to it. I want to give out some shout outs. We haven't done shout outs in a really long time. So I went through some of our newer subscribers or subscribers who just never really comment, and they've recently commented in. And so I have 4 shout outs, and you know, welcome. I'm glad you guys found us. Greek King 481. Hi. Welcome. Fun with Education. Hello. Marty, I think I'm going to butcher this. Stelvy. Hello. Welcome to the channel. And David Abbott. Hello. I've missed giving shout outs. I really have. So we also want to answer some questions. So Stephen Taylor wanted to know how we figure out our water expense, how we get it down to per gallon. Right now, it is at 1 cent a gallon. So Stephen, this is how I do it. What I do is I take the total cost for that month, sewer charges and everything, whatever is on that bill, a late fee, whatever. And then I take my gallons. They will, on your bill, it says how many gallons you've used. And I believe the one that I did for the 1 cent a gallon for that machine, I think that was a month ago.
Yeah.
I think it was last month or something. We had like almost 120,000 gallons that we had used, and
the bill was almost $1,200.
It was almost $1,200. So it's a basic, you know, divide.
Simple division.
Simple division, and it comes down to 1 cent a gallon. You know, because your bill has to tell you how many gallons, or they break it down into. I'm sorry, I think we have a squirrel in our roof because I keep hearing something. I don't know what it is. And you might have to call because they may break it down into per 1,000 gallons, or it might not actually be what their measurement is.
Now you pay a lot more at your house. We have to say.
Yes.
We're paying a penny a gallon because we use so much. We're at the next level. Your house bills might be 2 cents a gallon.
The house was 3. It was actually 3.
Yeah.
After that I did the math, and the house was like 3 cents a gallon. So Scott, you had made the comment about us glossing over and not showing our expenses. No, this was Scott.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So I know everybody wants to see expenses, but and maybe I'll get to it. I can show you too. But I want you to understand something when it comes to expenses for a laundromat. Unless you own this laundromat, your expenses are going to be completely different. Your tax bills will be different. Your water bill will be different. Your electric bill will be different. Your gas bill will be different. And that's because you're in a different place, and you're doing a different amount of business. You can look at our laundromat and be like, oh, we consider ourselves a medium-sized laundromat. Other laundromats would consider us a small laundromat. So
Others would consider us large.
yeah. So it's very,
You know?
it's very
Subjective.
subjective. It really is. So, but one of the bills that I am going to show you here pretty soon is because we just put in the LED lights. We want to see the savings. We want to see how much of a savings there's going to be. So that's going to be fun to when those bills come in, so that we can compare it to the year before. The other thing was that you weren't happy that we didn't show a whole video of them from start to finish. I think I had said that Greg had to kind of play gopher.
It was just the two of them, and I was handing the lights up and helping, so I couldn't record, and I was taking...
They were on both of our ladders.
Yeah, they were on ladders, so up
That
there,
were ours.
when they would hand the lights down, the old fluorescents, I had to take them and load them in the boxes, and then go and hand them the two new LEDs that they were gonna load into that fixture. That helped keep the cost down, is me helping them and
Yeah.
doing some work for them, and help,
Yeah.
and loading that stuff up.
And we had customers that had...
There were customers here, and I had to deal with a complaint, so I couldn't film the whole thing.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't want to show it to you, we didn't try to hide anything. I showed you them fixing, or, not fixing, changing out one of them, and basically they did that 20 times.
And I know you want to see that video. There is a video on YouTube of an electrician actually showing how to do these things. Because we watched it, and the only reason Greg didn't do it, because he's not an electrician. And I just wanted to make sure that our laundromat didn't burn down after Greg touched the wires.
You did, yeah, well, first off, I mean, there were two of them doing each one, with me in the back cutting power on and off. And it still took them probably 6 hours.
Yeah.
If I had been doing this, where I had to go up and down the ladder on each, because they had to do each side of each one. So you gotta know what you're doing on each side. It's not just doing one side, you have to really know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If, it would have taken me 2 days, so the money I paid them, to me, was worth it.
Yeah.
In that case.
Yeah.
And that was still a bargain compared to what the electricians wanted to charge us.
And the other thing you had mentioned was that we didn't talk about what was going on in the parking lot, and we're not going to. It's because we're not sure really what it is going on. We just had some suspicious activity, and we just don't know what it is. So we're not going to talk about it. But here's something I will talk about. So Thursday was Thanksgiving. We hope that everybody had a great Thanksgiving and was able to stay safe and distance. Miranda had to work from home last week, so she worked from home, and then she was kind of quarantined while she was at home. She's just sitting around. So she was able to come for Thanksgiving and spend a couple days with us. But here's the reality of owning a laundromat. So at 12:03 in the evening, or the morning of Thanksgiving, I was in my kitchen preparing some food for the day, and I got a call from my employee who says that there was a man in a van in my parking lot, unresponsive. He called 911, and when I got here, they confirmed that the man had died in this van. But here's what we discovered, and this is why I am grateful for my family, and that I have people that love me and know where I am. So this man came in on our laundromat at 11 a.m. the day before. He put his clothes in the washer. He spent $12, and he walked out to his van. He turned it on, kept it running because it was a little chilly here. And at some point after 11:15, he died. And he wasn't discovered until midnight. He laid in that van all day long. Nobody knew. The van was running, and nobody got suspicious. Nobody cared enough to peek in or be like, nobody knew. And it really bothered me. It really, really bothered me. And we don't know if he had any family. We don't know. I'm sorry, I'm emotional. Because, you know, people die in your laundromat and it's like, oh, it was an overdose. It was like, oh, some old man had a heart attack.
And we don't know how this guy died.
Or we still don't know because the medical examiner still hasn't done the autopsy.
I didn't see him. Was he, you did, was he?
I did see him.
Was he
Yeah.
older, younger?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. He was 20 years old. I'm sorry, I did know that.
Okay.
Because they got his ID. He was 20. And they told me his name, but I don't know. I didn't recognize him. So, you know, it just, so, you know, I don't mind criticism. I really don't. I kind of look at it as like, because I might end up making a good point, and you did make a good point, that we really weren't showing you a lot of the downsides of owning a laundromat. You know, I don't know if there's a good way to give criticism. When's a good time to give it, when to give it, when not to give it. I don't know, but I think everybody needs to know. Because we've told you the story of people dying in here, and it didn't affect us before. This one affected me, because I was at home making stuffing, and my employee was freaked out, because he saw the van running. And he opened the door to the van, because he knocked on it, because he saw the guy in there, and he didn't respond, and he opened up the door, and his leg fell out, and it freaked him out. And I feel bad for my employee that they had to, you know, I've seen plenty of dead bodies in my lifetime. I know how to deal with it. He does not. But it still bothers me that this man on Thanksgiving was alone. And I don't mind criticism. I really don't. But if you could maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Criticism is criticism. I guess we should just take it the way it is. You know, I'm not asking for anybody to be, you know, I don't even care that the one person leaves me a thumbs down for every video. There's one person out there that has to give me a thumbs down, and I really don't care. You know, I'm not here to please everybody. So, and the other criticism I got was, we didn't share, you know, you're right, we probably shouldn't have been eating Jorn's food. On camera, because we couldn't share with everybody. So
too bad.
Yeah, I felt bad. But I do have more mail. And I would like to maybe keep it to like one, you know, but we keep getting these packages, and we're excited that people love us and want to send us packages, because we love, wait a minute, hold on a second, because we love you all. We absolutely do. You don't have to send us packages, but we love you all.
Yes.
We really do. And so this is from Max Lawson. Max, we love you. We so do. Super sweet. Super, super sweet. So let's see what Max sent us.
Scissors, or you got it?
No, I think I got it. Uh-oh. Jeez, Max. Okay, I'm gonna have to rip the package a little bit. Let's see what we got here.
Package buffer, disposal for scrap paper.
That's funny, Max. He just put in some paper for packaging. Let's see. Ooh, a Christmas card. And it's for Max. I want to be careful not to show his address. Let's see. Max has been a subscriber for a while. I think he's been one of our first.